Hey y'all, it's Kimberly from the Path Illuminated. Welcome. If you're returning, as always, thank you for your support. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I think I'm gonna start trying, we'll see with my time what I'm able to do. I'm very much about flowing. I am a Pisces, but at least on my Instagram and my TikTok, I've been, and I've posted some of those here where I do for the elements, collective readings for the new moons and the full moons, because I like to pick up on that energy. But I was really feeling called today to pull a collective reading for this upcoming new moon in Taurus we have on May 7th or 8th, depending on where you are in the globe. The energies have been intense, and honestly, this entire year, it's crazy to think that we're already in May, but this, like, it's felt like a year already. I don't know how y'all are feeling, but, you know, I knew that this was going to be a really big year with regard to Pluto moving into Aquarius in January. And Pluto moved back into retrograde on May 2nd. It'll be in retrograde until October. And for a period of time, it'll be in Aquarius. Then it's going to dip back into Capricorn in September, where we're going to see, hard to believe, more and more revelations about, you know, the corrupt nature of our political, socio-economic systems. If you've been paying attention to what's been going on in the world around us, there is a lot of uprisings and disruption, understandably. You know, Pluto's been in Aquarius since 2008, which is when we had the last housing crisis and recession. And again, anyone who's paying attention knows that things are pretty bad right now for a lot of people, even people who aren't admitting it. Those of us that have sort of been really trying to sit with the reality of what's going on, doing our own personal work, I would say maybe you resonate with this, but it's been challenging for me because it feels like there are some people and segments of the populace that are attempting to act like it's still 2019, and it's not 2019 anymore, it's 2024. But you know, there's just been this programming that's been going on since 2020 of let's get back to normal, as if whatever that normal was before 2020, as if that was even working. It really wasn't, right? So in any event, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that's shifting, you know, and Pluto retrograde is really going to be an opportunity for us to, I feel, continue to be challenged. You know, for me as an alignment guide, it's a challenge as far as like, are you really going to align your actions with your values, and understanding individually how our everyday lives, actions, beliefs impact the collective, right? I think, again, anybody who is actually paying attention to what's going on in the world around us can start to see the impact and the power of this Pluto and Aquarius energy of like, look what happens when we come together. Look what happens when we realize that I might be one drop, but I'm part of the ocean, right? So, you know, this has been a really, really huge shift energetically on a collective level, whether you follow astrology or not. We can see the impact and the repercussions of the influence of these transits, which I know things have been very uncomfortable. Things have been chaotic. Things have been heartbreaking. The truths that have been revealed have just been devastating on so many levels. But I'm somebody that firmly believes that nothing can be changed unless it's faced. And I think a lot of us, and no shame, especially those of us who have and continue to do the work of trying to be with reality instead of deluding ourselves. A lot of us have just been surviving. We've just been doing our best, but there's sort of this breaking point, right, of things become so uncomfortable that you can no longer ignore the truth. You can no longer ignore the hard truth of what is actually happening. And some of that, again, it's devastating to see what's happening. It's astonishing. It's overwhelming to see these veils be lifted, see the hypocrisy and the lies and the deception and the manipulation be revealed, right? Because, you know, I don't think that it's bad for us to want to see the best in all things, but sometimes you got to call a spade, right? And I feel like that's what's been happening for many, many years. But with this Pluto and Aquarius energy, it's like coming to a head. And now we have this new moon in Taurus, which is why I'm here, May 7th, which there's also a rare alignment. It's known as a triple conjunction that's involving Venus and Jupiter. So Venus is the planet of desires and attraction, and Jupiter is the planet of luck and good fortune. So it really, this new moon in Taurus is really encouraging us to go deeper and to really identify what we're wanting to manifest in our lives. And I'm just gonna, like, if you haven't picked up on this, that I am about more than just manifesting, you know, having all this money and all this luxury and all this comfort, especially when we look around, right? I feel that the spiritual life is about providing ourselves enough capacity to actually be with what's happening and to acknowledge it and to acknowledge the challenge of it, right? When so many of us that may have a home, may be able to pay our bills, our rent, our food, we're still struggling, right? And then we see people who are suffering on the street or across the world, and we're like, what is going on, right? So I think it's really important to be honest with ourselves about what our values are, and then aligning our intentions with this new moon to not just manifest, you know, a raise or a promotion or a relationship or stability in our lives, but let's also take that intentionality and focus it on the collective as well, right? Let's make sure that we aren't getting caught up in that paradigm of this is just for me, this is just for my comfort, right? I don't believe that a true spiritual path is just for the individual. Now, granted, I'm one person, you're one person, but together, right? This Pluto and Aquarius transit has hopefully been helping all of us to identify the blocks that we have, the fears that we have around our values as a shared collective of humanity, understanding that, like, sure, maybe I'm not being directly impacted by something that's happening across the world, but it is impacting me. It's impacting the environment. It's impacting humanity as a whole, maybe not so directly, right? And that's where your ethics and your empathy and your values come into play, because if you have some level of comfort and privilege, you probably have the choice to ignore, right, the pain and suffering of the world around us. But what are you going to do with your healing? What are you going to do with your comfort? What are you going to do with your privilege? Are you going to hoard it for yourself? Or are you going to use it to connect with like-minded people, to come together collectively, to build community, to start actually figuring out, right, how do we get ourselves out of this paradigm that's no longer working? So, you know, I think that this new moon in Taurus is, yes, an opportunity to absolutely manifest the things that you want in your life personally, but let's make sure that we're also having a global approach and not just being stuck in that old paradigm of I'm just here to manifest my own personal abundance, right? Like, healing is not just for us, right? It's to help us build the capacity to go out into the world and to connect with other people in a genuine, authentic way, and to learn how to get past those barriers that the systems that are in place have programmed into us to make us afraid of one another, right? To make us hunker down in our homes alone, unable to be human, right? Thinking that, oh, the safest place is in my home all by myself because I'm so afraid of connecting with other people. But that's actually the answer, right? To a lot of these systemic issues is getting out of this individualistic paradigm that we've been programmed into, especially those of us in the Western world, but obviously those values have spread far and wide globally, right? And this Pluto in Aquarius is all about us aligning with the collective, coming together, learning how to actually care about more than just our own individual lives. So in any event, thanks for being here. If you're listening to my little rant, I'm going to pull some cards from, this is a Roots and Wings Oracle deck. It's one of the first decks that I ever started working with. I've been working with tarot since 2017 for my own personal healing and enlightenment. But this particular deck has always really been powerful for me. Wow. And I want to pull some cards from here. Now, I will say the writing on here is cursive, so the writing may not come through perfectly, but I will read the cards to you. So, Knight and Bound are the first two cards, which I find very, very poetic. I feel like collectively we've been going through a dark night of the soul, right? And it's not just this year. Like I said, things have really been accelerating since 2020. And a lot of us have been individually going through a dark night of the soul. Now, what is a dark night of the soul? That's when you start to question yourself, your life, the choices you've made, the world around you, the job you're in, the relationships you have. You start to question what's real, what's not. Are the beliefs that I've held, are they actually true? Are they actually beneficial? Because there seems to be something off. And oftentimes that can be a very lonely period, right? Of feeling misunderstood, you know, having a hard time, like I was saying, connecting with other like-minded people because you feel like there's something you understand that, you know, your group of people hasn't necessarily known. But I feel like collectively, this is what we've been going through. And we've felt bound. We have felt controlled. We have felt held down and imprisoned by our systems, you know, social, economic, political, culture, right? We've felt like this is so dark and I am so stuck here. How do we get out of this, right? How do we move forward? How do we change when we feel like we've been programmed to believe and had it beaten down into us that this is the only way, that even though we're unhappy, even though we're expected to be okay with things that are not okay, that we still feel like there's no alternative, right? There are still plenty of people that are like, well, this is the way it is, right? That they've given up hope. They've given up their creativity. They've given up any thought of thinking outside of the box because they've just been bound in this dark night and they feel like, well, this is the way it's always been, so this is the way it's always going to be. But it hasn't always been this way, right? Our lives are just a blip in time. And if we actually do the work of understanding the past, we can see that collectively there have been many changes, right? And you think about the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was during the French Revolution. That's interesting, right? So I think that we are coming out of this place because we're being pushed to a certain level of discomfort where we like can't accept that this is the way that it's always going to be. And then we got Healer. And I think, you know, I love this snake imagery because it makes me think of the fact that when a snake sheds its skin, right, they molt I think that's what it's called, but on a regular basis. And I think that that's what we're going through right now. I think those of us who are likely here, if you're resonating with this message and the messages that I presented, you have realized that you're a healer. And something I always point out, right? I identify as a healer, but what is the healer's job first and foremost? To heal yourself. And like I was saying earlier, all the healing that I've done personally, right? And it goes way past 2017, but 2017 was a very particular time for me where I started intentionally healing and developing myself and developing my spiritual practice and delving into tarot and oracle decks and going to therapy and like digging deeper. And, you know, a lot of times people start to get into the spiritual realm and they pick up divination tools and they immediately want to heal other people. And it's like, no, 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 no. My job as a healer is to heal myself and then to show up as an example and hopefully provide my clients, my friends, my family with a space where they feel safe to be seen and heard, and they can see, well, if Kimberly can do it, I can do it, right? It doesn't mean it's easy, but I can't do anything for anyone that they can't do for themselves. So it starts here, but it's something that eventually the world, we can bring that healing to the world. And again, when we heal, we have the capacity to change and to expand our minds and to learn how to be authentic and vulnerable and to say like, hey, maybe this sounds crazy, but like, I'm not okay with the way things are going in this world. I'm not okay with being told that this is all that I can expect is the darkness and to be bound to systems of oppression. That I'm just supposed to accept that people, you know, who don't provide enough profit to the system deserve to suffer, right? That people deserve to be unalive because people want the land. You know what I'm saying? That like, I don't care if you've told me that this is the way it's always been. I've been healing and I know what's possible for me. So if it's possible for me, it's possible for the world. And I think that it's really important for us at this time to use this new moon in Taurus on May 7th to not, again, of course, let's set intentions for our own healing, our own growth, our own expansion, but let's ask the universe, our guides, our ancestors, God, whoever you reach out to help us heal enough to be part of the collective healing of the world, to help us make connections across the globe, right? Outside of our day-to-day, outside of our neighborhood, outside of the people we've grown up with that may or may not understand us, right? But still understand that the work that you've been doing, if you identify as a healer, yes, first and foremost, it starts with you, but that gives you the capacity, right? To connect with other like-minded individuals, to open up, right? I know I've shared this before, but it's like when you have the desire to share a thought that you're like a little bit worried about, like I have this thought about the social system. I have this thought about the economic system that like, I think the entire concept of having to earn a living is wrong, because that implies that just being born means you don't deserve to live. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? Sometimes when we have that thought, because it goes against the overall cultural programming, we might be afraid to express it to people that we spend time with because it's against the programming. It's against the dominant culture. It's against the dominant narrative, right? But when you say that, you might find in being vulnerable that that person you're talking to feels the same way, and you didn't know that. And you just gave them the freedom to speak up. And then you encourage them by having that conversation to have additional conversations, right? It's part of why there's been so much suppression and oppression on these platforms. I'm one of them. I've suffered on every single platform. Why? Because I'm very clear, I'm very vocal, I'm very obvious about what I stand for, and I stand for the world. I stand for humanity. I disagree that we have to keep doing things the way we've always done them. I completely disagree. I believe that all beings deserve a life of peace and dignity and respect, right? And so, like, there are understandably consequences when you break out of the programming, but even if you speak your truth to people who are maybe not ready, maybe not capable, maybe not prepared, you still plant a seed, right? But it's because you've started to do the work of healing yourself that you even have the bravery to speak up, right? That you're letting go of being bound, of having your mouth shut, that you're like, you know what? I think there's more than darkness. I think there's a beautiful freaking rainbow that's possible. I think love and unity and peace is actually possible. I think healing is possible, right? Not keeping yourself shut down. Again, I love these cards. I'm going to pull some tarot. Thank you, angels, spirits, and guides. What are the messages for the collective for this new moon in Taurus on May 7th? Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for being here. If the messages are resonating, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know how you've been feeling, y'all. Just really felt called to pull some Wow. Okay. Four of Pentacles. So I feel like this is the energy that we've been in, right? Leading up to this time of Pluto and Aquarius. This, to me, is Pluto and Capricorn energy. And like I said, between September and November, Pluto's going to retrograde back into Capricorn, and it's really going to challenge us, right? It is the power structures trying to hold on for dear life to the control and the way that they have bound us, right? And taken our freedom and our dignity from us. And it also can point to that feeling of anxiety that we all understandably have because the systems, because of the chaos, because of, you know, the economic system, because it's been so hard to survive, because it's been so hard to make ends meet, and they've done that on purpose, right? So this is a card of like holding on tightly to what you have, right? But understand, right, kind of like I was talking about, that fear can really stop us from understanding what's possible because we're so afraid to lose the little bit that we have that we're not even able to open our arms to be open to something else or to something more or to something deeper. Then we have the Star card of Aquarius. So I feel like this is an indication that we've been working through and healing this wound, this money wound, this, you know, lack energy, this, you know, this idea that there's not enough for everybody when there is, this idea that we're not worthy, this idea that there has to be winners and losers. That's only because of the system, right? Money's not even real. We made it up. What would happen if we decided that we weren't going to use it anymore? Yes, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, right? People have just started these conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the energy, right? That like, we've been healing these wounds of like, just being okay with the little bit that the powers that be have allowed me to have, thinking that this is all we're gonna have. And so I gotta hold on to it for dear life, and I can't be generous and I can't be giving because, oh, I may not have anything. Like, we have been actively healing it. And this Pluto and Aquarius has been triggering so much of those fears and that programming and those systems of oppression, right? So that we could really understand them and decide, right? Because we get a choice. We can operate in fear. We can continue to say, well, this is the way it's always been, so that's the way it's always going to be. Or we can work through those blockages energetically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and say, no, I want something more. I know that not only is there more available for me, there's more available for the world, right? The Magician. And we're talking about this new moon in Taurus on May 7th, that each of us has a very particular set of skills a very particular set of gifts and abilities, whether we know it or not, right? This is another part of that Aquarius energy of healing, this idea that, oh, well, you know, I wasn't formally trained to be an artist or a musician or this or that, so I can't do it. No, 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 no. We all have so many skills, and what you can do, I can't do, right? We have such, and that's the other thing with Aquarius. Being an Aquarius is about being unique, and the magician energy is about using that unique ability, how you communicate, how you express yourself, the realm of influence that you have, the people who are in your community that you can speak to that I can't, using that to make literal magic happen. And again, manifestation isn't just about, sure, manifest that money, honey. Like, manifest your abundance, manifest that relationship, right? But also manifesting the right individuals, the right community, Three of Cups, the people that want to build with you, that want to celebrate with you, that believe that there's something more available, and that celebration isn't just about money and popping bottles, right? That it's like, what about healing, right? I want to celebrate your healing, you leaning into your power, into your authority, right? Manifesting the people that are going to actually be there for you when times aren't so easy, right? Like, we're not trying to manifest fair weather friends or fair weathered connections, right? We want people that know how hard it is to get to this point of really knowing yourself, knowing what you're capable of, and see you showing up authentically and sharing it with the world. And they're like, yeah, let's do this together. Let's take down the system together. Because why? The world. The end of a cycle. Again, we each individually get to choose our place in this new chapter. These transits are huge, and we get to show up as our most aligned selves, or, right, we're either going to show up as the Star or the Four of Pentacles, holding on for dear life to what little we have because we're afraid of losing it all, or doing the healing to actually step into a place where we're not only understanding what we're capable of, but we're understanding what is capable for humanity, what's possible for humanity. What kind of magic can we actually see happening around us, where we can learn to celebrate each other, champion each other, be there for each other, be ready for the end of a huge cycle. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. We were talking about the transits because, you know, like the eclipse portal, right? We had the lunar eclipse in Libra on March 25th, I think, and then the solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th. That energy is still with us. It's going to be with us till the end of the year. Let's keep it real, okay? It's not just over and done with. And then the full moon in Scorpio, super triggering. Triggering to bring things to the surface that need to be resolved, that need to be let go of. And the conversation I was having with this friend, it was like, and I've said this many times, be careful what you ask for, because you might just get the opportunity. And the opportunity is the universe saying, you said you wanted this. Do you really want this? Right? Are you really ready to set boundaries, knowing that when you do, there might be some friends that are no longer friends? Being clear about your expectations when you're dating, knowing that that might mean that that person might peace out on you. Stepping into your own alignment with how you live your life, how you spend your money, how you spend your free time. Because do you really want to be part of changing the world? Do you want to be part of the revolution? Or are you going to be settling for the pennies that the powers that be allow you to have? Because that's the way it's always been, so that's the way it's always going to be. Are you going to believe that you have to be bound to these systems and beliefs, or are you going to heal? Right? Some big transits right now, y'all. Let me know how this is showing up for you. How have you been doing? How are you doing? I'm sending you lots of love. I'm definitely going to be setting intentions for the world to continue to see the rise of humanity from this dark night of the soul into what's possible in the world, what we're capable of, that we've been told we can't do, we can't be. We have an opportunity to utilize this energy to evolve past the limits of our individual selves, but also on like the level of humanity. And you know, like, yeah, Pluto's gonna retrograde, and it'll retrograde into Capricorn, but then after November, it's gonna be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So that's like, it's a big energy. But I would definitely encourage you, whatever you're setting intentions for, you know, individually, it's still going to be a case of, are you going to be limited in the intentions you set by what the system, what your family, what your culture has told you is possible? Or are you going to heal that and realize how magic you truly are, and that there is the capacity and the ability to manifest something magical that is going to be celebrated by more than just you? And are you truly ready to let the past go? Are you really ready for this new cycle? Because individually and collectively, we've all been asking for it, and the opportunity is here for us. Are we going to take it? Let me know in the comments. You're going to take this opportunity to change your life and to change the world. Let me know. I'm ready for this cycle to end. I know that I am capable of more. I know that I am magic, right? I want to close this out with a card from my Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power deck. I just want to get one because these cards are pretty deep. Spirit, can I get one final card? Okay, let's see what we got here. A fierce Purba wielding blue dakini, conduit from the sky to the earth. Be fierce and vanquish whatever is holding you back. This is card 48. Thanks for being here, y'all. Appreciate it. Hope the messages are resonating for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be getting on my zodiac readings for mid-month soon. All right. Make sure you can see it. This dakini holds her Purba dagger in the staking position as her scarf billows around her in the inky gloom of delusion. She is fiercely committed to pinning down any obstructions to the Dharma and helping humanity, even in the face of heavy dark forces. She is dark blue as, in the tradition of the movement center who commissioned her, she is part of the Buddha family in the center of mandalas. Her color represents the central energy channel in the body, the Sushumna, where in advanced Buddhist practice, the energy is absorbed and flows upward to break open the dragon gate at the crown of the head, creating enlightenment. It is the year of the dragon, y'all. Dakinis manifest in many forms and represent the potency of female energy to give birth, representing the creation of newness, of ideas, beings, and levels of awareness. They range from beings with some levels of spiritual power, like sprites or fairies, to fully realized beings. They help arouse the energy of wisdom in tantric practitioners. A purva is a magical implement. It is the main tool of the deity Vajrakilaja, a magician form of the historical figure Padma Sambhava, both of who are hiding here in the deck of cards as well. They are used for many magical feats. Wooden ones can be used for healing and metal ones for exorcism or transformation, the three positions of attachment, craving, and desire. They can pin down negative energies from the mind stream of a harmful entity or human person and dispel dark forces from a society or a single person. They are used in consecrations, meditations, and weather making. They fix space to the earth like a lightning rod, creating a conduit between them. Wow. Very powerful. I feel like this is just continuing this message that we are in a very powerful time of transition, both individually and collectively. And I do believe wholeheartedly that the universe is on our side, the gods, the goddesses, the spirits, the angels, the ancestors. And they are, if we take on this responsibility of healing and elevating ourselves individually, understanding that this is going to assist the collective, and as we align our intentions and our manifestations with the higher perspective of what is possible, right? If I can get the card, in the world, are we ready to change the world? It's a good question to ask ourselves as we are leaning into this energy. Are we ready to change the world? Because the world is ready to change. Sending you lots of love. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.